But the courtesies must be observed. The Tories haven't held a seat at a by-election for 8 years, and between hugs they privately admit this one could be lost too. But the candidate's still fighting hard.
If Labour were putting up a candidate in Gloucestershire, they'd be in favour of fox hunting. And because they're putting up here in the Wirral, they're in favour of grammar schools. It won't work.
The Labour threat to Wirral South's 2 grammar schools has been the Tories' best issue, and Labour's had to move smartly to say they wouldn't get rid of any good schools. Heswall Golf Course looks over to North Wales from the smartest part of the constituency, and most of these ladies will stay loyal to the Conservatives.
What about New Labour?
No.
But some former Tories are swinging to Mr Blair.
Well, I feel 18 years of one-party rule is undemocratic. And, you know, I think it would be refreshing to have a change and new ideas.
Political expert Colin Rallings studied Wirral South on the ground and then took to the air to fly over the constituency. The 2 sides of Wirral South can be easily seen from 1,000 feet. The affluent west coast around Heswall, where unemployment is under 5%, and the east coast beside the Mersey, with a broad belt of industry, shopping centres and crowded housing estates.
Well, all the indications are that Labour's going to win, and that Labour's going to win well. And that really would be quite an extraordinary result, because what we see below us is a prosperous middle-class constituency, and I think it tells you 2 things. It tells you, first of all, how deeply unpopular the government still is with its own supporters, and it also shows that how well Tony Blair and New Labour have managed to reposition themselves and appeal to the very kind of affluent people who live in Wirral South.
But Labour's Ben Chapman must win overwhelmingly in the less prosperous areas. The party claims he's already shaken 12,000 hands.
We ought to think of bothering this time because we can make a change.
That remains to be seen.
Here in Wirral South we can shape the future of government, really, because it's going to set the tone of the general election.
Mr Chapman only joined Labour 10 months ago, and he can sound inexperienced and shy. The party spent much of his campaign hiding him behind various high-profile visitors. The Liberal Democrats certainly haven't tried to hide FLO CLUCAS. She's perhaps the most streetwise of the candidates and finds it easy to persuade people to sign a petition calling for more police officers.
We've lost nearly half of all of the police officers that have been lost in the United Kingdom in this area.
But the Lib Dems are being squeezed hard.
88.
The polls say Labour will win handsomely. Having heard from Heswall's golfers, I asked the bingo players of Bromborough.
They've been in long enough and they've done nothing at all for this country. They've ruined it. So one more vote for Labour will get them in.
How are you going to vote in the by-election?
Conservative.
You're going to stay with them?
Oh, yes.
Definitely Labour.
Why?
I don't trust this government. They made a right mess.
But many more used to vote Tory. The Conservatives hope they'll come back at the general election after registering a protest. David Rose, News at 10, Wirral South.
9 other candidates are also standing in the by-election. Here are their names with their parties or their campaign slogans.